5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. Floods and famines are two of the most devastating natural calamities that have plagued human civilizations throughout history. Both these disasters cause immense suffering, loss of life, and economic setbacks, and they often intertwine in complex ways. Understanding the causes, effects, and possible preventive measures of floods and famines is crucial for minimizing their impact and ensuring the resilience of societies. Floods occur when an area that is normally dry becomes submerged under water. They can be caused by various natural factors such as heavy rainfall, melting of snow, storm surges, or the overflowing of rivers and lakes. In some cases, human activities like deforestation, urbanization, and poor drainage systems exacerbate the severity of floods. When excessive water accumulates, it disrupts the normal flow of rivers and streams, leading to the inundation of low-lying regions. Floodwaters can damage homes, infrastructure, crops, and livestock, displacing people and causing widespread chaos. The immediate consequences of floods include loss of life, injuries, and the destruction of property. Floodwaters carry debris and pollutants, contaminating drinking water sources and increasing the risk of waterborne diseases. Standing water becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes, which may lead to outbreaks of diseases such as malaria and dengue fever. Furthermore, floods interrupt transportation, communication, and supply chains, making it difficult to deliver essential services and relief to affected areas. Famines, on the other hand, are extreme shortages of food that lead to widespread hunger, malnutrition, and starvation. Unlike floods, which are primarily water-related disasters, famines arise from a combination of factors, such as crop failures, droughts, pests, wars, and economic disruptions. When food production falls drastically short of demand, people struggle to access sufficient and nutritious food. Famines may develop gradually or suddenly, depending on the severity of the underlying causes and the resilience of the affected population. The impact of famines extends beyond mere hunger. Malnutrition weakens the immune system, making people more susceptible to diseases. Children, pregnant women, and the elderly are especially vulnerable to the effects of famine. In severe cases, famines result in massive mortality, social unrest, migration, and long-term developmental setbacks. The psychological toll of food scarcity also affects communities, leading to despair and loss of hope. The relationship between floods and famines is often complex and interdependent. Floods can destroy crops and agricultural land, leading to food shortages and ultimately famine conditions. For example, When floodwaters submerge vast areas of farmland, crops are drowned, seeds rot, and soil fertility is compromised. This destruction can reduce food availability for months or even years after the flood recedes. Additionally, floods may wash away stored food supplies and disrupt local markets, making it harder for people to access food even if it is available elsewhere. Conversely, famines can worsen the consequences of floods. Malnourished populations have reduced physical strength and resilience, making it harder for them to recover from flood-related damage. During times of famine, people often have limited resources to protect themselves and their property from floods. This vulnerability creates a vicious cycle where floods lead to food shortages and famines increase the damage caused by floods. Efforts to manage floods and famines require a comprehensive and multidimensional approach. In the case of floods, early warning systems, proper land use planning, and investment in infrastructure such as dams, levees, and drainage channels are critical. These measures help to control water flow, reduce flood risks, and protect vulnerable communities. Furthermore, educating people about flood preparedness and response can save lives and minimize damage. In the context of famines, improving agricultural productivity through the use of drought-resistant crops, better irrigation techniques, and soil management practices is essential. Additionally, establishing efficient food distribution networks and maintaining strategic food reserves can help mitigate the impact of sudden food shortages. International cooperation and humanitarian assistance play a vital role in addressing famines, especially in conflict zones or regions facing prolonged crises. Climate change is an emerging factor that is likely to intensify the frequency and severity of both floods and famines. Changes in weather patterns, increasing global temperatures, and rising sea levels contribute to unpredictable rainfall, more intense storms, and prolonged droughts. These conditions increase the vulnerability of ecosystems and human societies, making flood and famine management more challenging. Therefore, addressing climate change through mitigation and adaptation strategies is integral to reducing the risk of these disasters. Moreover, poverty and inequality exacerbate the impact of floods and famines. Poor communities often live in flood-prone areas due to lack of affordable housing elsewhere. Their limited access to health care, nutrition, and social services makes it harder to withstand and recover from disasters. Addressing the root causes of poverty and ensuring equitable access to resources are necessary steps toward enhancing disaster resilience. Historically, floods and famines have shaped human history by influencing migration patterns, social structures, and political dynamics. For instance, major floods have led to the abandonment of settlements and the rise of new cities in safer locations. Famines have triggered revolutions and uprisings by exposing the failure of governments to provide basic needs. Understanding these historical lessons can inform modern policies and disaster management strategies. In conclusion, floods and famines are formidable natural hazards with far-reaching consequences for humanity. Their causes are multifaceted, involving natural processes and human influences, and their effects are compounded when these disasters occur simultaneously or sequentially. Effective management requires a combination of technological innovation, policy intervention, community engagement, and international collaboration. By prioritizing preparedness, sustainable development, and climate action, societies can reduce the devastating impacts of floods and famines and build a more secure and resilient future for all. Traditional knowledge and local customs often provide valuable insights into coping mechanisms that can be integrated into modern disaster management. Community-based approaches, involving local participation and empowerment, enhance the effectiveness and sustainability of interventions. It is also important to foster cooperation between governments, non-governmental organizations, and international bodies to share resources, expertise, and technology. Ultimately, resilience to floods and famines depends on building adaptive capacities and addressing vulnerabilities at all levels of society. Stop.